Hello, this is teddygaming and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TMNT RW ongoing series, issue 133. So yes, this is the next issue in the big TMNT, the Armageddon Games event, and it took an interesting turn, one which I was not expecting it to take, and I thought it will take this whole story in a different direction than what I thought it was going to take. Just because in the Armageddon Games issue number 1, we just had the big reveal that the Notos attacking Backstockman in front of a live audience, and I thought that with this issue, it's going to pick up immediately with that, and it's going to continue with that story, and we're going to be progressing the whole event through both like story, or like through the Armageddon Game comic book, as well as the ongoing series. But no, it seems like the ongoing series is going to be a tie-in with it that is still part of the Armageddon game, but mainly focusing on a different part of the universe, which is okay. But I feel as though they probably should have set that up a bit more clearly before going into this comic. So yeah, but saying that, I did enjoy this issue for the most part, but I was disappointed with what we did get in a way, but not because it's bad, but because I was expecting something a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, I still did enjoy it, and I'm still excited to see where this comic does go, and this whole event is going to be really pumped for just what's coming next, really. Okay, so there's going to be two stories for this thing there's 3 different stories that happen within this issue, and they all do tie in, and it does get a little bit confusing, so I'll try my hardest to go over all of it in a way. Okay, so first off, we start off in the future with Leonardo, with Carmen and Bob, and what I believe to be is Armageddon, and it's set in the future, probably after the Armageddon game, when things have gone wrong and Rat King has won. And this is really interesting to see what will happen if they don't win, and it looks interesting, and in a way I still do hope for this to happen. At the same time I don't, because I want the Turtles to win, but at the same time this whole future looks so more interesting, and I'm just really wondering just like what actually led up to this to happen to it. And it's interesting, and I do hope we do expand upon this in future issues to come and stuff like that. Maybe have like characters from the future come back to help the characters in the present. I'm not too sure where I was going with this whole story, and I do think that maybe this will be expanded upon in future issues to come, or at least I hope they do, because this is really interesting. But if they don't do anything with this, then I do think it is a bit of a waste of time, just considering that they could literally just spend those few pages developing the actual story. So I'm interested to see where this does go, but it needs to like really pay off in the future. But as of right now, it's okay, really intrigued me, but yeah. Now this does lead on to the next part, which is just Cersei, Carmen and Donnie interacting with each other, but Donnie doesn't really like all of it, as he wants to get back to his work, because he's basically monitoring the whole situation with Jenica, April, and just everyone who is not in the or doesn't have anything to do in the Armageddon game issues. So it's an interesting part of it, but at the same time I do feel as though this whole part of this, or you know what, this whole issue is more or less just like one of those things that just sideline all the other good characters which do have like a really important part to play, and just put them on to like sideline, which is quite sad to say. Just because I do think that some of these characters such as Angel, Donnie, April, and probably Carmen and Magenta, I feel like these characters are big characters and they should not be sidelined, so I do hope they do come back to the forefront and become useful main characters. I know that with the future issues to come, that this whole thing does have a bit of a storyline with Magenta, Angel and Donnie protecting Magenta. So at the same time, I feel like at one point I do feel like they're going to have the main focus on them, but at the same time I feel like they're just being pushed to the sideline, and this is the best we're going to get for those characters. so that is quite disappointing. But yeah, then we do have Jenica, who is working with Sally, and she is basically becoming the new chief for Mutant Town. But that is when things go from bad to worse, as the No-Turtles have just attacked Baxter, and Mutant Town have really changed their opinions on the Turtles. Some of them think that the Turtles are evil, they don't trust them, they think they did a good job, so all of them are a bit, it's basically like a civil war within Mutant Town, and I do think this could be an interesting story if they do develop it just right. But at the same time, with how they do develop the stories, I'm still a bit unsure how well this whole story will play out. I do hope it's good, but at the same time, oh god, it's hard to say really, just because of how they do portray their comics or stories, so it's hard to say. But this whole part of it does seem really interesting, as they could do so many unique things with it, as we could see the Turtles get abandoned by this society and stuff like that. There's so many things which they could do. I'm just wondering how much of it they will be doing. So yeah, and then I do feel like this is sort of like the point which I was realised is like, yeah, this definitely was a poor decision on their part to, because they're teasing the end of the Armageddon game and just replaying what we've already seen and not really giving us anything new. With this sort of thing here, I was sort of expecting them to continue that little story, because now this feels a bit weird and off, and yeah, it just feels weird to be seeing this and then not continue that little bit of it until we get into Armageddon Games issue number 2. It is a bit frustrating. But yeah, and then we do have the Foot Clan. They have a little little mini story arc, which I got thing is, I know that it definitely does get developed in the future issues to come, but at the same time it just feels a bit out of place and a bit weird. It's just got Bludgeon, who's hiding Venus de Marlowe from all the Foot Clan, and that is when Venus is meditating, she regrows her arm, and yeah, there's not really too much I can really say here, man. It's interesting. I'm looking forward to see what we do next with it, and yeah, I'm not too sure what to say about all this, but at the moment, interesting is one way to describe it all. And then for the final story, we have Angel, who's building the Nobody suit, but that is when she's attacked by some people from outer space, some mutants, I want to say. One of them I think is Verminator X. I'm not too sure about that. I may be wrong about that though. Yeah, I'm not too sure what they're going to be doing with this storyline. I know that some people are saying that this could be the assassins that Sherelle's sending from Bruno Island, but I don't think it is. I'm not too sure what's really happening with this storyline, or what these characters are, what we're doing here, and it's one of those things where, like, I'm interested to see who these characters are, why we're doing it and all that, but at the same time it's all one of those things where, like, I just don't really care about it as much as some of the other stuff, but it's still an interesting part of it. It's just, there are so many other things you could have set up for the ending, and you decided to choose this. Was it the best ending? No, but it has got me intrigued, but all the other stuff before this little story has got me way more intrigued. But yeah, so overall this issue was interesting, not the direction I thought it was going to take, but it's still interesting as it was able to set up some other stuff for this whole Armageddon game, and do like we are seeing some other parts of the universe, as well as developing, developing the Mutant Town story arc. So yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like at the end of this whole story arc, it'll be one of those things where, like, we can see, oh yeah, this story was good, it played off really well, but as of right now, it's hard to tell if it is good, or if it is just wasting our time. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys. If you do like this one, please share, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.